The Community Television Consortium of Stark County presents this week's edition of What's Happening, the show about you, the people of Stark County. And now your host for tonight's program, Susie Vitale.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of What's Happening in Stark County. I'm Susie Vitale. Our first guest this evening is Dr. Larry Reinhardt, who's the Director of Graduate Programs in Christian Ministries at Malone College. And you're here to talk about an upcoming seminar. What's that seminar called?
Well, it's good to be here, Susie. I'm here to talk about the seminar entitled Men at the Crossroads. And this seminar will be held September the 15th and 16th of this coming September 1995.
What crossroads is this referring to?
The presenter will be Dr. Jack Balswick. He teaches at Fuller Seminary in Pasadena, California. And he's done quite a bit of research and writing in the area of families, and especially in the area of ministry in the church to men, which is a rather recent development in the Christian church. And there seems to be a lot of interest right now in the role of men.
There does. In
society and in the family and in the church and so forth.
Okay, so these are men that at all different kinds of crossroads regarding their families and their personal lives.
That's right. In various stages of development in our life, especially in our adult life, there are different roles that we're called upon to play and different responsibilities that we have. And sometimes in our changing society, it seems like we don't always know what's the appropriate reaction, what is expected of us. And so there are a lot of questions today as to the responsibilities and the roles and reactions of men in our society. And so this particular seminar will focus on the responsibility of men as we see it from the Christian perspective.
Okay, now the presenter has quite a resume. Do you want to tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, Dr. Jack Balswick teaches at Fuller Seminary. He has authored several books. His title is Professor of Sociology and Family Development and Director of Marriage and Family Research at Fuller Theological Seminary. And some of his books would include The Family, A Christian View of the Home, Building Strong Family Life, The Gift of Gender, and his most recent book is the title of the seminar, which is Men at the Crossroads.
Okay, now what sort of seminar is this going to be? Is it 1 day, 2 days?
Actually, it'll be a 2-day seminar. People are urged to come both days, but if they cannot come both days, they can come one of the days. And by the way, it's open to women as well. It's not just excluded for men.
We don't have to come as spies.
No, it might be helpful to have some women there to have some reaction, and also as far as the church and ministry is concerned, we know that there's a vital responsibility that women play as well.
What's the cost of this?
Well, the entire cost is for both days is $45. Now that would be Friday evening from 6 to 9, and then Saturday, September the 16th from 9 to 3. And that would include refreshments and also lunch. Refreshments Friday evening, refreshments lunch, and on Saturday, and refreshments on Saturday.
Is there a different charge if it's a course, if it's taken as graduate credit?
This can be taken by any individual that wants to attend the seminar. But if a person wants to attend the seminar as part of for graduate credit, and it can be part of the graduate credit in the Masters of Arts in Christian Ministries at Malone, or it could be credit could be transferred somewhere. The cost for 1 hour of graduate credit would be $150.
Okay.
So in order to qualify for graduate credit, the individual would do some advanced reading and attend the seminar, and then write a research or reaction paper following the seminar.
Okay, we've only got about 30 seconds left, but if somebody wants to sign up for this or wants more information, what phone number do they call and who should they talk to?
Well, they could call the graduate school at Malone College, and the number is 471-8210. 471 8210.
Okay, and you're Dr. Larry Reinhardt if they
Yes.
want to speak directly to you.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Stay with us, we've got more. Our next guest is Sue Givens, who's the assistant principal at Southgate School. And you're here to talk about a program on behavior problems that you have there. So do you want to basically tell us when you got this started?
Hi, Susie. Thanks for having me on today.
I get right to the point here.
Right to the point. I began with the program in 1978, and the program was already running. It's called the Adaptive Learning Program, and we have a staff of trained professionals that work with our teachers and assistants and parents in our school program at Southgate and Eastgate with children who have behavior problems. And we help the families and the teachers develop behavior plans to work with the children. We try to teach them appropriate behavioral reactions. Many of our children have a limited repertoire in how they would react to situations, whether they're frustrated or upset or they're not sure how to react. And with this limited repertoire, sometimes their response to a problem is to get angry, throw things, whatever. So we try to teach them more appropriate ways to deal with problems.
Now, do you work just with your teachers or do you work with the parents as well?
We work with the parents. Sometimes we go into the home. I'm working with our psychologist, and we teach classes for parents on how to manage and discipline their children. And we also work with our bus drivers on how to get the students to and from school safely.
Now, how do you do this? Do you write up plans, or how do you do this when you're confronted with a problem?
Our program has a really detailed policy on how to deal with behavior problems. We may observe the children. We do a lot of videotaping of their behaviors. We talk to the teachers and parents. We look at the things that the child likes to do, and we try to build on what they can do. We try to build and expand their behaviors from there by using a variety of behavioral techniques.
Now, when we spoke earlier, you said that behavior is just communication. You
Yes.
want to explain that? I thought that was really important.
Behavior is a way to communicate your wants and your needs, and with many of our children, that is their way of reacting, and many of our children are limited in how they can express themselves. And so we work as a team with our other professionals at the school, and especially with our language department on helping the children develop appropriate ways to communicate. Many of our children cannot talk, so they may use communication systems. And one of our big challenges is finding ways to fund those systems also. And that brings me up to another area.
I was going to say, how do you fund them?
We write grants. And one of the things that our program is offering along with our parent group is a grant writing workshop that is August 17th and 18th. And this workshop is open to teachers, church groups, civic organizations, whoever. We're bringing in the organization Polaris from North Carolina, and normally it costs $335 to attend the workshop, and we're offering it to our community people for $200, and they can call us at Southgate School.
Okay, what's the phone number there?
484-2547.
Okay, and they could also probably get the information if they called the MRDD office, is that right?
Right.
They could route you to Southgate School.
Right, and our main office is 477-5200, but if they call Southgate, they could ask for Becky or myself, and we could give them the information on the workshop.
Okay, for $200, what are you going to do? What's this workshop like?
You learn how to design research projects, grant projects. You learn about all kinds of funding sources on the local, state, and federal levels. And hopefully you come out with enough skills that you can write a project that you would be in the 10% of the grants that a company or organization would receive. So you have a really good chance of being funded.
Well, that's great. So this will be August 17th, and what time is this going to be?
It's the 17th and 18th. It's a two-day workshop, and it's from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And for teachers, it is going to be a CEU certified
good.
workshops, so they can get credit for that.
Okay, well, we're almost out of time, but if someone wants more information on the grant workshop, what is the phone number one last time?
484-2547.
Okay,
And that's Southgate School.
And is there a cutoff time for reservations?
We need to have all the reservations in by the end of July, possibly the first week in August.
Okay. Thanks for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We've got more. Our next two guests are Jim Dennison, who's the head football coach, and Jim Clark, who's the director of sports information for Walsh University. You're here tonight to talk about football, which is very appropriate during Hall of Fame time. Do you want to tell us, first of all, is this the first year that Walsh has had the football team?
Yes, it is, Susie. They tried football as a club sport back in the late 60s. Didn't really fly as they wanted it to, so we play our first intercollegiate game this September, have a 10-game schedule. 5 home games. We'll play the games at North Canton Hoover Stadium. And our first game is September 2nd, 1:30, Geneva College at Hoover Stadium. And Geneva plays for the 100th year. We're playing our first game, so there's quite a contrast there.
I'm sure you'll win. Okay, let's talk to the coach here. This is Jim Dennison, the head football coach. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from and where have you been?
Well, I'm old. I was a head football coach at the University of Akron for 13 years, and the athletic director at Akron for 6 years, and opted for the early retirement. So this is really a retirement job, and we're now back into football, starting a program, and it's really been exciting. We're having a lot of fun, and some of the real good coaching staff, and I think some real good student athletes. So we're excited.
Well, that's great. Now, you mentioned your schedule. You start when? September?
September 2nd.
September 2nd. Okay, and where are your games going to be played?
We'll play at Hoover Stadium.
Okay.
Folks have taken us in there very nicely, and they've been great with us. Brand new field, new press box. Should be a great atmosphere for us for college football.
It's very nice. It's easy to get in and out of. There's lots of parking.
5 minutes from campus, which is great for our students also.
So when do you play? The afternoons, evening?
All afternoon games. The 5 home games, September 2nd, Geneva College. The 23rd, Tri-State University. The 30th of September, Sue Bennett. Then 2 more home games, one in October, Lindenwood on Saturday the 7th, and Malone, our arch rival, November at our place on the 11th at 2 o'clock.
Okay, where are you getting your players?
Well, right now we have 112 young men committed, and 54 are from Stark and Summit County. So the vast majority of our players will be Northeastern Ohio. Northeastern Ohio is football country, as we all know.
Sure is.
So it wouldn't be very smart to go too far outside of there. So we want to do this with a local student athlete, and we're extremely happy. I think we're going to surprise some people. I think that we have some good student athletes, and as I said before, we're excited. It's the first year, and we're going to have to run pretty quickly here the first 3 weeks to get ready for a team like Geneva. But I think that we have a veteran coaching staff, and I think that we'll be able to do that. But it's because of the recruits and the kids, the student athletes.
Okay, so obviously you're already in training.
We start on August 12th. We bring the kids in for 2-a-days, and we're right now just getting into the organizational phase and getting the staff together and doing things like that. And we also have sponsors for every one of our games. So I'm also the athletic director. We've been working hard on that too. So every one of our games is sponsored by a corporation here in the area. So I think we're going to make this a community type thing.
Well, that's great, and that brings me to something that we talked about earlier, was that you have a couple programs going. You have Sack for Sack.
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
We're very happy. Each time our defense sacks the opposing quarterback, Fisher Foods gives a sack of groceries to a needy family in town in conjunction with the Stark County Hunger Task Force. So that's just a great thing for us. We're happy to give something back. Defense gets lots of sacks. Fisher gives away lots of groceries. And we also have Kick for Kids, where when we kick field goals that are successful, Lucky Shoes will give a pair of shoes to a youngster. So 2 great things for us. We're just happy to be involved with those.
That's great. Do you want to name some of the people that are sponsoring the games? Or?
Yeah, we can. Our first game is sponsored by Diebold. We have the Hoover Company sponsoring the homecoming game, giving away 6 sweepers, by the way. Which giveaways every game. We have Society Bank sponsoring the Malone game. We have First Merit Bank sponsoring the next to the last game against Lindenwood. And then we have Coca-Cola, Sinise,
Papa Bears.
Papa Bears also. So we have good area sponsors for each game, and that's exciting. We have giveaways. We'll have skydivers for the first game, and we'll have a commemorative keychain for the first game. We're giving away tumblers. We're giving away seat cushions and things like this.
Okay, we're down to 30 seconds. If somebody wants season tickets, a schedule, any information, who do they call? What's the phone number?
Just call 490-7017. We'll get you season tickets, schedules, anything you'd like to have. We'd love to have you there.
Okay, this is Walsh University football. We know there's going to be a good rivalry between you and Malone for local. That'll be great.
We think it'll be a great one.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got Malone. Stay with us. Our next guest is our good friend Susie Thomas from Malone College. And Susie, we just had Walsh on before you got here.
Boo!
Do you want to just say a little bit about your football team?
Well, certainly. We are going to be having our third season of football, and we have a marching band.
Okay. Well, they'll have to work on that.
You know, we have a great rivalry starting off with Walsh, and we're all excited about the big first Walsh-Malone game, which this year, I don't know how, but it's going to be played at Walsh this year. And
they're playing at Hoover.
That's right. Right.
Okay.
It's an away game. They're going to be using the Hoover Stadium, and should be very exciting. The beginning of a great rivalry.
I think so too. I'm excited.
Yep, I am too.
Okay, so what's going on at Malone?
Well, today we'd like to put out a call for crafters because this is something you might be interested in because you're a little bit crafty yourself. But October 21st, we're going to be having Peddler's Loft, and this has gotten to be quite a huge craft show that everyone seems to look forward to every year.
It's very nice.
We have the big barn, the Randall Campus Center, which seems perfect for a fun fall craft show, and anybody that's interested in getting a head start on their Christmas shopping, or if they have, if you're needing a neat Thanksgiving arrangement or something, anything coming up with all of the fall activities and holidays and things, then this is a great place to get them. But first, right now, we need to put out an appeal for people who are crafters, and if they are interested in getting a table, to please call the college. And the person that they would want to talk to is Karen Loy.
Okay.
And they can call her right at the college at 471-8100 and ask for Karen Loy, and she is in charge of the Alumni Women's Association, and that is the part of our Alumni Association that is in charge of Peddler's Loft. And it's one of the major fundraisers of the year.
Are there any sort of rules that or distinctions for the crafters? Sometimes it has to be all handmade.
Not that I know of. I don't know of any particular, but they can ask Karen
can check
that.
with her.
Right. As far as I know, everything I've seen, there's wood crafts, there's paintings, there's flower arrangements, there's sewing kinds of crafts, baskets, all kinds of crafts. Cut glass, some of the things that you've done. I mean, there's just some beautiful things, and I think people really ought to mark that down on their calendars right now, October 21st.
Okay, what are the hours?
9 to 4.
9 to 4.
It'll be a Saturday, and they really do fill the barn, and it's started to become quite a thing because crafters from all over Ohio do participate, but we want to give our local crafters an opportunity to be there as well.
Sure. Is there a charge to get in?
No, none.
Okay, and how about food?
There is food that's offered. Of course, that there is a fee for that, but they do have fun, hot dogs, conies, and those kinds of things going on at the same time.
Okay, now what else is going on at Malone?
Well, all kinds of things are going on. That's right. As I'm thinking right off the top of my head, the fall plays are really exciting this year as we're looking ahead to fall. Abraham and Sarah is a two-part play that is first going to be launched at Malone College and then offered to area churches around in our community. So that's going to be kind of an exciting thing that starts in September. Then in November, and this is one to start looking forward to already, I think it's going to sell out right away because with the Andrew Lloyd Webber fanaticism going on right now, we're going to be doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and that will be put on by both our theater department and the Malone College Music Department as well. They're going to collaborate and put on Joseph. So that is beautiful music, and anybody who's a fan of Jesus Christ Superstar or Phantom of the Opera or any of the wonderful Andrew Lloyd Webber tunes, they're going to want to be able to be there.
Now, how do people get more information about the plays?
Why don't they go ahead and call the Public Relations Office at 471-8240.
Okay, and they would ask for you, Susie Thomas.
I'll be glad to give them all the information they need.
You can always tell them everything they need to know about anything at Walsh.
At Walsh?
At Walsh, I'm sorry. At Malone.
At Malone. I know a lot more about Malone.
Forgive me. Okay, well,
That's okay.
I'm just so excited about this rivalry developing.
I know I am too.
And you had mentioned it to me when I was talking to you earlier that, you know, that this was going to be a big rivalry, so.
It really is. I think this has the makings of another great local rivalry. We already know what the Massillon-McKinley game has become, and this is going to be that kind of rivalry on the college level. It's very exciting.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Pat Perkins with the calendar of events. Stay with us. I wrote a card out so I remember to say that. Next up is Pat Perkins with the calendar of events. Pat?
Thank you, Susie. We're going to go through the Hall of Fame activities, and we're going to start with Friday, July 21st. At 11 o'clock in the morning, running until 11 o'clock that evening, is going to be the Jackson Belden Food Fest, and that's going to be held at Kent State, Stark, and the Stark Tech area this year. The Balloon Classic is going to be a liftoff at 5:30, and that's also from the Kent area. And then on Saturday, July 22nd, there's another balloon liftoff at 6 o'clock in the morning. The Food Fest, again, will go that day from 11 until 11. That evening, another balloon liftoff at 5:30. And remember that the balloon liftoffs go according to the weather, and if they don't come over your house, it's because that's the way the wind's blowing. So they could go all four different directions on all four different liftoffs. At 7:30 or at 7 o'clock that evening, now that's Saturday, July 22nd, the Drum Corps International North Regional Show will be at the Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. Then we get to Sunday, July 23rd, which is the kickoff day. We start off that morning with the Balloon Classic liftoff again. At 8:30 that morning, we have a 10K and a 2-mile kickoff race, and that is starting from the Hall of Fame Fitness Center, which is located right near 25th and Fulton. That afternoon is the kickoff parade at 2 p.m. starting from downtown, and it goes out to McKinley's Monument. At 7:30, this is the second Marine Aircraft Wing Band concert and fireworks, and that will be at the McKinley Monument. Then on Wednesday, July 26th, again, we're going to have the Ribs Burn Off downtown, and that's from 11 in the morning until 10 that evening. On Thursday, July 27th, we're going to have the Ribs Burn Off again downtown, and that's always a great time. And they have 2 stages set up, and they have lots of entertainment going on. From 11 until 10. At 6 o'clock that evening, the United States Air Force Band, a flight concert, is going to have a concert downtown. And then at 10 o'clock, the big fireworks from downtown. Starting the weekend of Friday, July 28th, we're going to start with the Mayor's Breakfast at 7:15 in the morning. At noon is the fashion show and luncheon. At 5:45 is the cocktail hour. And that night at 7 o'clock is the Enshrinee Civic Dinner. Now, all those events take place at the Memorial Civic Center and Cultural Center, so you'll need to be downtown for that. On Saturday, July 29th, we're starting out at 7:30 in the morning with the Grand Parade, and it goes from downtown right up Cleveland Avenue and disperses about 25th Street. At 11 o'clock is the enshrinement, and that's at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. At 2:30 is the pro game at Fawcett Stadium, and I understand they're coming up in carloads from the Carolinas because it's 2 new teams in the football league, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers. So promises to be a packed crowd for that. If you want to know anything about tickets or any information for any of the Hall of Fame events, you can call the Canton Chamber of Commerce, and that number is 456-7253. And the McKinley Museum is having an upcoming exhibit about football now and in the past. This includes not only the coaches and the players, but it includes the bands, the cheerleaders, the majorettes, and any aspect of the sport. They are asking anyone who is willing to loan them football memorabilia to contact Rose Anderson at the museum, and that number is 455-7043, and let them know what you've got. They'd like you to let them know before August 20th if it's possible. If your nonprofit club or organization would like to appear on What's Happening, you can write to us at CTC, Post Office Box 8335, Canton, Ohio, and that zip is 44711, or you can give us a call at 493-8925. We do air on Tuesdays on Warner Cable at 6, on Thursdays on Warner Cable, that's Channel 11 at 6:30, and on Thursdays, Maslin Cable, Channel 50 at 7:30.
That wraps up another edition of What's Happening in Stark County. Thanks for joining us.